Hey, everybody. It's Eddie from Tokyo, and I've got a very, very special guest with me today. This is Charlie Silver. He is leading a project that I want you to hear about because I think, honestly, we need this in the space of having access to our data, and everybody seems to have access to our data, and nobody is asking us for permission. And this is a business model that is going to make it possible to securely grant that permission. And then should you grant that permission, you're monetized for that privilege. So this is really interesting. I'm very interested to hear the answers to a lot of questions, many of which came from the community. And right now your data is being used, and yeah, you are getting nothing for that. So this is a business model that is going to change that. And whether you are a hodler, you like to trade, you like to spend, you know, this is a very interesting project. So Charlie, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. So we have to tell everyone that the name of the company behind this is Permission. And you have a coin, and it has the name of ASK, ask, right?
Correct. Exactly correct.
Yeah. And the most important thing that I think I wanted to know, and I just can't wait to hear you get into it, is your technology is proprietary.
Well, we've spent years building proprietary technology. It's actually called data algebra, where all data can be turned into mathematics. And the blockchain crypto space was the perfect application of it.
Yeah, so that really does set you apart because you have to differentiate yourself from, you know, what other people are trying to do in the space. So that has a lot of value. And you don't, even though you forked from Ethereum, you made some modifications, so you don't have to deal with those high gas fees. Is that right?
That's right. We used Ethereum as the foundation of our blockchain, but we've made modifications and it's our own. It's a permission blockchain, although the foundation of it was based on Ethereum.
Uh-huh. And one of the questions everybody always looks at and asks in the beginning of looking at a new project is you have this coin that has been pre-mined. There's 100 billion in the circulation. Is that right?
Well, there's 100 billion. It's actually, and for all the, you know, I know a big part of your audience are Ripple, part of the Ripple community. It's actually the same structure as Ripple. There's 100 billion pre-mined, but actually in circulation today, we only have, you know, less than 5% in circulation. So, you know, we're keeping that reserve, you know, because we want to build an audience of hundreds of millions of users. And so we needed that big supply. It's a consumer application. And hopefully we have, you know, hundreds of millions of users over time.
So you are the steward of those coins. And I think with the company Ripple, they have put the digital asset XRP into an escrow that is on smart contracts. Is there something similar to what you do with the coins?
Well, right now our audience can earn ASK by engaging, by watching videos, clicking on things, sharing their data, but they're not going into a smart contract together. That may happen in the future, but right now, no, it's just distributed to people into their wallets, into their permission wallet that exists on permission.io. Or they can take them offline onto a Trezor if they choose to.
So cold storage is definitely the option, which is good. And you are on a couple of exchanges and you have a big new announcement coming soon. Can we talk about that?
Of course we can, because it's out there. I mean, currently, I mean, we started listing trading on BitHum Global and a decentralized exchange called Vitex in the fourth quarter of last year. So we've been out there for a few months. And we're very excited to start trading on BitTrue on March 8th. And we got tons of special announcements coming up. We have a special airdrop if you become a permission member, and there's all kinds of announcements coming up. So pay attention to us on Twitter at permission.io, and it's all coming very soon to BitTrue on March 8th.
Yeah, so if you were to say, in regards to the competitive advantage that ASK has and permission, I mean, how do you talk about, who's your biggest competitor, or if you have a competitor out there, and how does it compare?
Well, our mission is about allowing individuals to get paid for their asset, which is their data. Data is the most valuable commodity in the world today. I mean, Google, Facebook, Amazon, Alibaba, the biggest companies in the world are built on individuals' data. But yet the individual gets no compensation in this equation.
Right.
So our whole business, our whole model is built around allowing individuals to grant permission to use their data, to watch an ad and share their data. But they do that when they're compensated. And that's what ASK is the currency of permission. It allows an advertiser to ask permission and an individual to grant it. So that's our model. It's a digital ad model. Instead of advertisers paying Google, Facebook, et cetera, they pay you directly. And they get a better ROI. They get a better engagement. They get loyalty, trust, et cetera. Now, our competitors, our biggest competitor is probably Basic Attention Token. But they're very different. And by the way, they're great. I mean, I really think they're doing great things, and they were out there early, but their model's different because they collect no data. They're just about privacy. And if you want to surf the web privately, totally anonymously, and not worry about getting compensated, Brave is great. But for us, we're different in the sense that people want to share their data and get compensated. That doesn't really happen on Brave. It's a total privacy model where we're a monetization model for individuals.
So the more people, if I permission you to use the data, can I choose from a list of what is okay and what isn't okay, or do I just leave it to you to decide what that best match is?
Yeah, right now, I mean, I can see that in our roadmap in the future. Like, I only want to see ads about sailing or, vacations in Europe, I see that down the roadmap, but that's not today. That's a more sophisticated, probably a few years down the road. But today our job is to give you contextually relevant ads that you're going to want to see, that you're actually raising your hand and volunteering to be marketed to, and say, yeah, I'll see these ads. If someone's asking permission and compensating me, I want to participate in that.
How do those ads come? Are they a pop-up ad, or is it a video, or is it a survey I take, or what does that ad look like?
Well, it takes several forms. Right now, they're primarily video ads on permission.io that you become a permission member and you can watch ads on products and other ads and go shopping. But our job is to build all of these use cases for all the things you ordinarily do on the web. Right. We're really excited about a browser extension for Chrome. That's coming out. We're in beta. And for people who want to try it out and be an experimenter, please, if you can go to permission.io, you can sign up or go to our Telegram channel and find the link to be a tester. So the idea is you go about the web the way you normally do. And in the corner, you'll see a little yellow icon that says, oh, here's an ad for 500 ASK. Watch the ad.
So I'll even know ahead of time how much I'm going to get if I watch that ad.
Exactly.
Oh,
and
wow.
so you go about your business, you go to Google, you go to Amazon, you go to Walmart, wherever, it doesn't matter. And, when there's an appropriate contextually relevant ad, you'll see a little icon in the corner, and it's up to you if you want to watch it. You click on it, you watch the ad, and then that ASK goes into a wallet, your wallet that's built into the browser.
You probably have to complete the whole ad, right?
Yes.
so, well, I'm just thinking, so how long is an ad on average?
30 seconds. Maybe 15 to 30. There may be a 60 in there, kind of like television, or kind of like when you're on YouTube. There's always ads when you watch a video on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
But 99% of the time, people click them off, right?
Yes.
And so our model is like, if you're getting compensated, an advertiser wants to know that you've seen the ad, because it like our logo, it's a handshake. It's all about building relationships. We help brands or advertisers connect to the right consumers to build loyalty, trust, and really build a relationship.
So if I was to click on a lot of ads, how much could I earn? That's
a very good question. It's a multivariable problem. I have to, the idea is if you could make hundreds of dollars a month, that would be ideal, I think, people think in terms of dollars. So, but it's all dependent on who the advertiser is.
Oh, yeah.
Who you are, how valuable of a target you are, right?
Yeah.
Depending on the context, if you're looking for, a new mortgage, for example, that's a very valuable kind of product, or insurance, or travel, versus headphones, it's multivariable,
So I'm thinking if I fill out what I'm guessing is probably some kind of profile, right? So it tells you I'm a woman, it tells you my age, it tells you my hobbies, maybe what kind of work I do, what are my interests. Do you ever update that information so that, because people's lives and focus change over time?
Absolutely. There's a section, on permission.io.
Yeah.
It's called My Data, that asks all those questions. And you decide what you want to share, and the more you share, the more valuable you become. Right?
I was just going to say that's probably the case, is the more you share, the more, because then the better job you can do to provide what that advertiser is hoping for, which is a perfect match, right? They want the eyes that are really going to be interested in their product, not just some random person surfing.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm intrigued with the business model. I don't know if I know of anything that is exactly like that. And it should be very interesting for those people who are truly interested in ads, because we do learn a lot from ads. We really do learn a lot, but you've really hit on something that is important, and that is the relevancy. You don't want to waste your time on things that aren't interesting to you.
Exactly. That's exactly right. And as the model matures and gets better and better, you hit on something earlier that I think is a great point, which is like people choosing what kind of ads they want to see. Like I'm looking for a new mortgage. Okay, I want to see ads for mortgages, right? Or I'm looking to buy a new car, or I'm looking for whatever. Yeah. I'm traveling to Europe. And it will get better and better and better over time, and more personal, more personal, more targeted over time.
Yeah, because you use ads to keep up on new products. You use ads to compare price. you use ads for lots of reasons. I mean, it's not just always that you're ready to buy, but you're kind of maybe in a preparation of something that's going to be happening in 6 months from now or a year from now. And so you're doing your research, basically.
Right. I mean, the model today, the digital model, ad model on the web today, it's broken in so many ways. I mean, the most important way is the exploitation of individual data, right? You know, I'm using Google, I'm using Facebook, but I don't really know the kind of data they're collecting and how that's being used. And I haven't explicitly granted permission. I mean, somewhere in the terms of service down deep in the fine print, you know, you've granted permission, but you're not explicitly granting permission, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, people get ads that they don't want to see. And do you know that 50% of people under 30 in the world use an ad blocker? 50%. And then there's another huge component of click fraud, meaning.
How do you mean?
Click fraud is a huge $80 billion business of hackers that build websites and that, you know, run Google ads on the Google network or other networks and have these bots that just click all day. You know, so advertisers are paying half of what advertisers pay to Google and Facebook are ads that never go to anybody but a bot.
So
Google knows this, Facebook knows it, and they have no incentive to shut it down because, you know, advertisers are paying them, they're delivering the clicks, and yet the clicks, half of them, maybe even up to 70% are fraudulent.
Yeah, I think Google in the YouTube world calls those invalid clicks, and there's people who maliciously, you know, will create those bots to drive certain, you know, numbers that are just totally not correct in terms of the viewers. Yeah.
Right, and click fraud. You know, if you Google it. It's considered the second biggest organized crime business in the world, next to narcotics. It's a huge organized crime business, click fraud. And, you know, if you're Procter & Gamble, you're Nike, you're Sony, you know that half the money that you're paying these platforms are going to the fraudsters.
You know, I'm kind of naive for that because I didn't realize it was that high. I just had no idea.
So, I mean, it's a two-sided marketplace. So we're trying to solve the problems on both sides, solving the problems of advertisers, connecting to real people who are volunteering to see their ads. And then we're solving the problems of individuals whose data has been exploited without their permission. I mean, it's like, imagine you're on a big ranch somewhere and you discover oil on your grounds, and the big oil company just comes and take the oil and they don't pay you for it.
Yeah.
I mean, that data is the most valuable commodity in the world. It is the new oil, right? Yeah. And so if they're taking this commodity without compensating the real owners, I mean, it's exploitation. It really is.
Yeah. So you're creating kind of this permissioned channel, which I think at least now with the new Ripple platform, where they're going to provide a permissioned private channel for banks to launch their central bank digital currencies. I think people really understand that a permissioned channel is really what I think a lot of people want.
It's really, I mean, kudos to Ripple. I mean, that's fantastic. And it's the same set of principles that if you want to see data, you got to ask permission, and someone has to grant permission. And Ripple has created the infrastructure for that in that context, in the central banking context. And we've created that infrastructure in the context of digital advertising.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm just really, you know, the technology is always so fascinating. And I think it's fabulous that you have thought of this. And I'm just also thinking, okay, so if I give you this data and then how do I know that information is safe? I mean, I'm sure people ask you that question all the time, right?
Well, yeah, and that's an issue. And, it's part of our value system, the transparency, the integrity, the protection, the security of the data. It's just part of our, ethos and our culture that, we're going to do everything we can to encrypt that data and make sure it's secure.
But probably now, if I'm a Facebook user with the AI tools that they have, they probably know a lot about me, right?
They know more about you than you know about yourself. They can predict what you're going to buy in the future better than you even think. They better than you know yourself, because they know what your friends are buying. They know what your connections are talking about, what they're looking at, and they can surmise what you're likely to buy. I mean, and they know more about what you're potentially going to do than you would predict on your own.
Yeah, it's a kind of a scary thing, I think. Then, I want to have more control over my data. And I unfortunately, the digital footprint that we all have made, because we really weren't totally aware of what was happening 10 years ago. I mean, right. I just didn't think the average person just wasn't clued in at all. Yeah.
Well, that's exactly right. But, over the last several years, starting with the Cambridge Analytica scandal and,
right.
All of the documentaries and then GDPR came out, which is the global, GDPR is a global data protection regulation. It started in Europe, which was a whole set of regulations about how data can be managed and how individuals can request all of the data that Google or Facebook has collected on them and request that it be deleted. And then California, where I live, has its own set of laws. It's called the California Data Privacy Act, which is actually much tougher than GDPR. So not that I'm a big fan of regulation, but regulation just follows consumer sentiment, right? So consumers are aware, the politicians are catching on. So I really do think the next generation of the web, that data is going to, people have advertisers, platforms, publishers, anybody who uses data is going to have to ask permission. And if somebody's going to grant permission, it's like, I should be compensated. So
I wonder if my brain is working on, can we erase the slate and start from scratch? Probably not, right? I mean, all of that old data is probably out there forever, right?
And what's interesting, and people talk about privacy, and I think privacy is huge. It's very, very important.
Yeah.
But the reality is, if you live in a modern country, if you have a driver's license, if you vote, if you have a mortgage, if you have a magazine, that data is sold and repackaged and resold. And I'm not talking about online activity, but just in California, if you have a driver's license, the state of California sells the motor vehicle records and driver's licenses of all the people in California over and over and over again. It's a $70 million business just on motor vehicle records. They sell voting records. They sell, electric companies sell your electric bill. Magazine companies sell, okay, you got a particular magazine, a huge part of the magazine business is selling subscribers. If you subscribe to a business magazine, well, you might be a good candidate for XYZ, or, a women's cooking magazine, you might be a good candidate for that. So your data, if you don't have a credit card and you don't have a driver's license, privacy is just kind of not a real concept in the modern world,
Yeah, I mean, people talk about being off the grid, but you really just don't get off the grid. I bet you even there's data tracked on people who are on the streets. Some way, somehow, they're accessing something that is probably being sold.
I mean, everybody's familiar with credit scores. I mean,
Yeah.
credit scores are built on all the payments you make to your mortgage, your credit card, insurances, you know, all of that gets reported to these credit bureaus. So they know all about your financial history. I mean, you want to talk about privacy. I mean, it doesn't really exist unless you're off the grid, totally off the grid.
Yeah, I just don't think you can totally get off. And like I said, unless you're homeless, but I just would even venture to guess that something is, you know, I don't know. I can imagine. So I want to take a look at one of these questions that came in from the announcement that this was going to happen. And one of the questions was in terms of the mobile app, but we talked briefly before we started this video. Tell everyone about how this application that you've built, the platform, actually is very much okay with mobile phones as well as desktop.
Yeah. The application is built on what's called mobile web, which is an architecture that conforms to your mobile phone. And it doesn't matter if it's on Android or Apple, or it doesn't matter. So you can go to permission.io and have a beautiful experience on your phone.
Yeah.
But probably later this year, we will be releasing a specific application that in the Android store and the Apple store that it will have a slightly different experience. I mean, a mobile application is not, you're not surfing the web. Yeah. It's a unique one-to-one kind of relationship. So you can offer new things and new experiences that are slightly different. And that's important. And we will be having for sure an Android app out by the end of this year.
Yeah. So there's a reason why I asked that, is because I don't want to be sitting in my chair facing the computer screen to be able to earn, right? Sometimes believe it or not, I take my phone with me into the bath. You know, I have this. Yeah. I'm definitely, sometimes I've got it on in the kitchen when I'm doing dishes. Sometimes I do it when I'm on an exercise bike. So I'm just making sure that I don't have to be sitting down in front of my computer only to earn.
Yeah, no, you can go to permission.io on your mobile phone. And I think a majority of our users use it on their phone. And it's a very good experience on your phone.
Yeah. So I also, I understand that you closed on a really big round in February, and it's just nice to see that you've got a lot of, capital, that you've got a lot of running room to go. You've got various investors, some of the big names, VCs coming from Silicon Valley, and some high net worth, I think, private individuals. So yeah, I just want to say congratulations on that, because you really have raised a lot of money, like over the course of time, over 50 million. So that's really impressive. I just wanted to say congratulations, because as a startup in the past and someone who has raised money, it's not an easy task.
No, it's not easy. But I want to be clear, that money has been raised over several years. It's not been, we just completed the round and boom, we're sitting, but we have raised over $50 million over several years. Yes.
Yeah. Well, it's important, just because I know that a lot of people are, have a dream and have a vision, and reality is you have to have the money to play that, to back that up and to play that out, and to continue to have developers and engineers to do updates and, keep up with the changing space, because this space is changing so fast.
Yeah, no, this is a capital intensive business, and raising capital is key to having a successful project, for sure.
Yeah. So you're going to, can you tell us anything that's coming up that with the, I don't want to pull anything out that you don't want to talk about, but do you have any kind of big surprises you can kind of talk about that's coming up?
Well, I've been coached to, to tell people we got a lot of announcements coming up. Please follow us on Twitter, follow us on Telegram, sign up, become a permission member, and then you'll get regular updates. But the one thing I do want to share is this browser extension is going to be released, and we're in beta. But I'll give you another secret.
Okay.
We have a plugin. It's called a plugin, and it's going to work on Shopify and other e-commerce merchants. So this is another way to get ASK into distribution, where you can go shopping on one of 1.2 million Shopify stores. Well, they're not all going to install the plugin right away. I mean, it's going to be slow, but rollout. But the idea is that you can earn ASK as a reward for watching product videos, for checking out, for opening emails. So our goal is to think of all of the use cases of the transactions online. Open an email, download a white paper, sign up for a newsletter. All of these things that you have to share your email, your data in order to participate. We are building features and products for all of those use cases. Take a survey, where ASK can get into the mix. But, the browser extension is coming, and the Shopify plugin is coming. But there's many, many, many more that we have in the pipeline.
Yeah, I saw the example of how your API works with a storefront, with toys and baby products and shoes and clothing and health and beauty and all that. And then how you can see it priced in a currency, and you can also see it dynamically priced as the token changes. I'm sure that price changes with the ASK. So you can pay for multiple ways, right? You can even choose to use your Ask coin to pay for that. Is that right?
Exactly. We had to, this is a utility coin, a utility token, a coin. And, having the use case to earn and spend, got to be able to spend as well as earn. So, we created the store, but it's really the example for how the Shopify plugin will work. And we're going to build plugins there's many other platforms. There's WooCommerce, Magento, BigCommerce, and there's over 15 million e-commerce storefronts. And we're giving those merchants the ability to reward their users, for, like a loyalty program, right? But it's a crypto, so it's liquid. That's what's so cool. If you earn points from a specific retailer, they're siloed. You can only use them with that retailer, but a crypto has liquidity where you can trade it, spend it, exchange it for other currencies, so it's a perfect use case for cryptocurrency.
Yeah, it is, because you do have that interoperability. You can take that and go into another thing, but eventually if you want, you can get it into fiat. And yeah, it doesn't have the restrictions that a loyalty point with a particular company has.
Right, which is very siloed. And I could fast forward several years, and I think cryptocurrency will take the place of siloed loyalty programs.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. I mean, because, how many points have you let go to waste in your lifetime?
Exactly. Most people in the West, have, 15 loyalty programs that they're signed up to, but maybe one has meaning, like their airlines points. Those are useful, but the local retailers and other retailers, you forget about it. You don't care.
Here you won't believe it, but maybe I just have been away from the States for so long, but what they still do here is they do the little cards and they stamp. So every time you come in and make a purchase, like if you make a $5 purchase that's worth 1 stamp. You make a $10 purchase, you get 2 stamps, and then you try to fill up not a real like stamp, but what, you know, it's called a honko, where it's an ink stamp. And then once you fill up your little book, you can cash it in for some credit, you know. Do they even do that in the United States still?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, there's, you know, yes. And just imagine how crypto can replace that system.
Yeah, can you imagine? I mean, if you really get the user base to where this ASK coin can be one of the options out there, it's going to be, you know, just one of those tools that you have in your wallet to spend because you earned it,
And that's the idea. We're building, you know, we have this browser extension that has a wallet, and then we're working with merchants to offer and accept ASK. So think about it. You can surf the internet, earn ASK, and then drop in and spend it for someone who, you know, accepts it and earn it. And, you know, so it's building a whole economy around permission and asking.
Yeah, I think the makes sense to me. I understand the business model. And I think that it's a model that is also adding not only value, but it's a model that is needed in this world, because right now we are exploited as people who just give away our data for free.
Exactly. Well, the world's changing. I mean, that's one thing that's for sure, is the one thing you know for sure is change always happens. And, you know, I give a talk sometimes. I have a background in financial services as well. And I'll throw up a slide that has General Motors, IBM, Exxon. What do all these companies have in common? And General Electric. At one point, they were the most valuable companies in the world. #1 market cap company. And now they're all struggling to survive in various ways. They've been disrupted. They haven't kept up with the changes. No. And if people don't think Google, Amazon, Alibaba are staying on top forever,
they don't remember Kodak.
Exactly. And there's something a great economist, Joseph Schumpeter, you know, talked about. In a free world, there's a force called creative destruction. You know, things are always being created and things are being destroyed by the new creations. And so, you know, the world is a very dynamic place, and technology is this force for change, and I believe a force for good. And so it's exciting.
Yeah, I think we do get, you know, version 2, version 3 is always an enhancement and improvement over what version 1 was. And so I personally can't imagine what's going to take the place of an Amazon, Google, or Facebook. Or Apple, I can see the not the total loss of market share, but I can see them losing some. But those other ones, wow, what I really wonder is who and what and how is that replaced? That is unbelievable to think about.
Well, I'll tell you a story. I grew up in Detroit, Michigan, you know, the Motor City, car capital of the world. General Motors was the biggest corporation, the most powerful corporation in the world, richest corporation in the world. I mean, the thought that 15 years later, that they were almost bankrupt and had to get bailed out by the government to survive. And they've had multiple bailouts over the years. And, you know, and I'm not suggesting that Google or Facebook or Amazon are going to go that route, but.
Yeah, no, I'm not hoping or wishing for anybody's demise, but I just can't imagine what could come in to take that place.
Right, but no, there's always competitors, there's always new forces, there's always new technologies that replace old ones. And, you know, some companies keep up, but most don't.
Yeah, it's a constant reinvention, isn't it?
Right.
Well, Charlie, I'm going to give you the total, tell us something we didn't talk about or we didn't cover. You want to make sure everyone knows.
Well, we're very excited to be part of the BitTrue community. You know, we're super excited. We want to help all of BitTrue community earn ASK. And, you know, we want them to become permission members and participate in this ecosystem. You know, we have a lot of contests and rewards coming up. And, you know, I think we covered a lot.
Yeah, I think we did too. But me being on the outside and not an actual user of your solution yet, I just want to make sure that we got everything covered, that for someone who might be interested in following you and watching your progress, and also to watch the ASK. So on ASK right now, I know I should have asked this. What is it trading at? I mean, I'm kind of curious. I didn't look that up.
It's a small cap right now, but it's going to grow. It's been, you know, we're above our original listing price by 2x. It's at 0.0016 of a dollar. So
yeah, that's okay.
You know,
this space understands that. They understand small caps. They understand when things just get introduced into the ecosystem. Everybody understands that. So you don't have to make excuses for that at all. In fact, I think this space is so sophisticated, they're hoping that it didn't 10x already or 100x already. So yeah.
No, I'm very optimistic about our progress and our future. And I really encourage, you know, your audience to check us out and participate. You know?
Yeah, so Twitter and on the permission.io, and you have a Telegram channel.
Yeah.
And is there any other social media that you're using that you want to direct people towards?
Yeah, Telegram and Twitter are the most active. That's really, you know, the best, I think, right now.
Crypto Twitter is really amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's quite active.
I like it. I mean, it's sometimes you know, it's crazy with the amount of information that you can get bombarded with, but it is really dynamic. It really is.
For sure.
All right, Charlie, thank you so much for joining me today. And I can't wait for you. Yeah, I can't wait to upload this and wish for your success. And I hope that we have a chance to talk down the line when you, you know, have a big announcement. Just send me an email, or if you've got anything you want to share, that would always be, my door is open for that.
Yeah, and likewise, thank you for having me very much. And I appreciate your time and effort. And yeah, well, let's stay in touch.
All right. Thank you so much. I'm going to say goodbye to you now.
Okay. Bye-bye. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.